China has once again refused to condemn Moscow's actions in Ukraine, as Russian banks say they will look into issuing cards that operate on a Chinese payment system after Visa and Mastercard said they would cut their services in Russia. Key points. A Chinese spokesperson says Russia and China's friendship is ironclad. A Chinese spokesperson says Russia and China's friendship is ironclad. Russian banks are considering using China's UnionPay system to circumvent Visa and Mastercard's withdrawal. Russian banks are considering using China's UnionPay system to circumvent Visa and Mastercard's withdrawal. China has refused to denounce Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Far from any statement of condemnation, on Monday Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi labeled Russia Beijing's most important strategic partner. Mr. Wang said China's alliance with Moscow constituted one of the most crucial bilateral relationships in the world. China has broken with the US, Europe and others that have imposed sanctions on Russia after its invasion of Ukraine, and said sanctions create new issues and threaten a political settlement of the conflict. No matter how perilous the international landscape, we will maintain our strategic focus and promote the development of a comprehensive China-Russia partnership in the new era, Mr. Wang told reporters at a news conference. The friendship between the two peoples is ironclad. Wang Yi speaks to the ironclad alliance between China and Russia. Russian banks look to China. His comments came before Russian banks said they are looking into issuing cards that operate on a Chinese payment system after Visa, Mastercard, and American Express said they would cut their services in Russia. Sberbank and Tinkoff Bank said Sunday that they are considering the possibility of payment cards powered by China's UnionPay system. The banks told customers that they will be able to use Visa and Mastercard for transactions within Russia, but they will stop working for payments outside of the country after Wednesday. However, the Russian central bank warned on Sunday that all cards using the Visa or Mastercard systems will stop working for both purchases on foreign websites and transactions abroad. Russian banks are scrambling to find new ways to facilitate cross-border payments after a host of foreign companies suspended financial services, part of a larger move by the West to isolate Russia and cut it off from the global financial system. Mastercard and Visa are suspending operations in Russia. China and Russia have increasingly aligned their foreign policies against the liberal Western order, and their militaries have carried out exercises together and flown joint air patrols, as their relationship has taken on the trappings of an informal alliance. Mr. Xi's government has refused to criticize the Russian invasion, but tried to distance itself from Mr. Putin's war by calling for dialogue and the respect of national sovereignty. Along with denouncing trade and financial sanctions on Moscow, Beijing said Washington is to blame for the conflict for failing to take Russia's security concerns into consideration. During a phone conversation with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Saturday, Mr. Wang said China opposes any moves that add fuel to the flames in Ukraine. Mr. Wang called for negotiations to resolve the immediate crisis, and said the US and Europe should pay attention to the negative impact of NATO's eastward expansion on Russia's security. Taiwan situation fundamentally different. After a meeting between Chinese leader Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin in Beijing in February, a joint statement was issued affirming strong mutual support for the protection of their core interests. Russia endorsed China's view of self-governing Taiwan as an inalienable part of China, and opposes any forms of independence of Taiwan, while China backed Russia in opposing the further enlargement of NATO. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has drawn comparisons to China's own threat to invade Taiwan in order to bring what it considers a wayward province under its control. However, Mr. Wang said Taiwan was a fundamentally different issue from Ukraine because the island is an inalienable part of China's territory. Some people, while being vocal about the principle of sovereignty on the Ukraine issue, have kept undermining China's sovereignty and territorial integrity on the Taiwan question, Mr. Wang said. This is a blatant double standard. Those comments came as Taiwan's Foreign Minister Joseph Wu said that Taiwan has raised more than $300 million to help displaced Ukrainians. He said Taiwan's representative office in Poland would on Monday make the first disbursement of $100 million to a refugee agency. Despite great adversity, the government and people of Ukraine have been fighting with tremendous courage and determination, Mr. Wu told a news conference. Let me say this from the bottom of my heart. You have been an inspiration to the Taiwanese people in facing threats and coercion from authoritarian power. Loading. AP